Good afternoon. This is just a video to go with the text forecast that I put out, because sometimes it's just easier to throw in a video in the background and just let it run, and instead of sitting there reading paragraphs of text. Some people like the text, some people don't, so that's why I'm trying to do both when I have the chance to. Okay, so basically, why am I doing this at the moment? As I said in the text one, I've seen a lot of chatter about tropical cyclone coming back for Queensland. People even saying that there's another one going for southeast Queensland. And that kind of things, and other tropical features that are just not happening. Now, there is not a cyclone coming back for Queensland in any of the modelling runs up until about 15 days. So if there is a cyclone in the future, it's at least not for 2 weeks. So like, I don't like bitching about other pages, so I'm not going to name any of these. But I just want to make sure that my followers and people that listen to this or read the text post are getting the most accurate, up-to-date information and a more balanced outlook. So that's the thing with me, is I like to put out a balanced outlook. So I won't focus on one scenario or another scenario. I won't focus on one model wonders, one run model, one... This is a tongue twister. One run, one model wonders. So, for example, GFS likes to put out the most extreme scenarios from time to time. Excuse me. So I'll just pause recording as I just cough up a lung. Anyway, yeah, so GFS used to be pretty good with tropics, but it's gone downhill with that now, and it's mostly used for forecasting storms and temperatures, especially down in southern Australia. It seems to do better with temperate climates these days. Now, the EC model is by far the more superior numerical model when it comes to tropical weather. So, with that being said, this is why that EC has a specific tropical cyclone genesis map, as I'm showing on the screen now. So it basically brings up the chances of cyclone genesis or tropical low genesis and puts a percentage. Now this is the highest percentage of the next week of the run. So this is just one of the days, but this is the highest percentage of all of it. So as you can see by this, there's about a 20 to 30% chance of a tropical cyclone forming in the Gulf. There's more chance that a tropical low will form at this stage, and it's most likely to be on the eastern side of the Gulf and move either northwest, west, or southwest, kind of in a general west direction. So it shouldn't directly affect Queensland. There is a slight chance, as you can see by that it may track into the western part of the state, but it's a low chance at this stage. If that does change, I will do an update later on and basically address that. But for now, the latest data we have is that it will track west. So, just moving on to why I actually brought this up. This is why. There's a high concentration of rainfall around the northeast coast. And the reason for this, after looking at all the modelling, seems to be a moist trade winds. Now, this type of rainfall is not actually anything really extraordinary or exceptional or significant, whatever word you want to use. Some of these areas around the wet tropics, so between Cairns and Cardwell, for example, Babinda has 792 millimetres of rain in March. That's the area's wettest month, March is. You've got Tully that has slightly less at 750, but again, it's its wettest month. You have Bellenden Kerr Top Station. I think that's how you pronounce that mountain. If it's not, apologies. But that has, for March, again, its wettest month, has 1,320 millimeters of rainfall. A lot of areas in the wet tropics, March is their wettest month. So you getting 300, even 387 as the multi-model is showing here, is nothing really. It's pretty standard. Like, you'd expect that kind of rainfall. Now down towards Townsville and even up to Cairns and Cooktown, those kind of falls that they're showing now are a little bit more on the more impressive side, but even still, it's not overly, oh my god, we're all going to die kind of thing, you know? So it's, I know a lot of people in North Queensland currently have a bit of PTSD with the recent floods, which is understandable, but this shouldn't over a week cause any dramas. Rivers will rise. I mean, rivers rise all the time, up, down, all wet season. So there is that, but flooding wise, you should be fine. Of course, again, if any of this changes, I will update as soon as I get that information in. So, looking a bit further ahead, and before I go there, I almost forgot because I'm not actually reading the text one, so I'm not kind of reading what I said in there. I'm just winging it as I remember. Access model, I will point out, has 700 millimeters for the same area around the wet tropics. Most of that is offshore, and it's really relying on a fairly decent tropical low to form in the Gulf and bring moisture across from the Coral Sea, which will then dump a bit of rain on the northeast coast. It shouldn't happen. I'm not overly confident in that, but again, it's something to watch. So I'll be watching that over the next few days and see what happens, because I will follow trends. I don't pick one model or one outcome. I'll just look through trends and see what the general consensus is for the across all modelling, and that's why I use the multi-model like I am here, because it has the average of all the models put together. So even though it's one map, it's basically about 5, 6, maybe even 7 models all averaged out. Now in the longer term, there could be I don't have any of the maps to show this, but there is the potential for the monsoon trough to form over the top end of the Northern Territory. This may be by next weekend, so not this one coming, but the following weekend. As we've seen this season with the monsoon, especially for the NT, there's been a little, mind the language, a shit of a low that forms in the Indian Ocean, which is being played around with, and it drags the monsoon west. So there is a potential of that, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully for us that live up in the north that are not seeing much rainfall at all in top end at the moment, this monsoon would be a godsend to actually get, especially if it's fairly vigorous and provides enough rainfall. So for anyone listening in the top end, I'll be keeping an eye on it, and we'll see what happens, but fingers crossed we actually get a decent monsoon before the wet season's ending, because this is probably the last chance of any monsoon or activity across Australia as a whole, most likely. When you get into April, monsoon activity is really, I don't think it's not unheard of, but it's rarer than, again, apologies for the language, but it's rarer than tits on a turtle. So yeah, so relying on a monsoon in April probably isn't the most good idea. So that's pretty much it. I don't think there's really else I need to add to it for now. So it's just a watch and wait kind of situation again, which seems to be all we're doing lately, is watching and waiting. So we'll see how this all turns out, but in the meantime, have a good day and stay safe out there. Take care. Bye bye.